Hello everyone. In previous class, we are done with the advantages, disadvantages of the euro bonds and about the domestic bonds. In today's class, we are going to speak about the foreign bonds. A foreign bond is a corporate bond issued by a foreign entity in a domestic currency of the country of the issue. Okay, so do not confuse between the foreign bond and euro bond. Okay, so for example, let's say US company is issued their securities in US dollar in Indian market, then that is called as the euro bond. Okay, dollar euro bond. But the same US company is issued their bonds in Indian market in Indian rupees, then it is called as the foreign bond. Okay, the bond is in the domestic currency but issued by the foreign countries, so that is why it is called as foreign bond. A British company that issues a dollar bond in US market. Okay, a British company, if they are issued the dollar bond in US market, it's called as a foreign bond. A German MNC issuing dollar denominated bonds in a US investors, and foreign bonds have names symbolizing the country whose currency is being borrowed. So here we can see the company's name and in what currency they have issued. For example, Yankee, if they are issued in a US market or any of the country where the currency is dollar, then they say Yankee for dollar in that particular market. Bulldogs for a sterling bonds. So if they are issued in UK, then they have to issue in pound sterling or any of the countries where the currency is sterling, then they should mention it clearly. Samurai for yen. So if the samurai company is issued in a Japan and they should issue in yen, then only it is considered as foreign bond. So they have to mention it clearly. And metados for Spanish euro denominated bonds in the European Union region, if they are issuing their bonds, then they should issue in euro. Okay, so if the matador issued in euro market, then it is Spanish euro denominated bonds. So in this way, which company is issued in what currency, they will mention it clearly. Foreign bonds are regulated by the domestic market authorities and are usually given nicknames that refer for the domestic market in which they are being offered. A foreign bond allows an investor a measure of international diversification without subjection to the risk of changes in relative currency values. So, since this particular type of the bond is issued in the domestic currency but by the foreign companies, there is no currency risk. Okay, so that will be helpful for the investor. Without the currency risk, he can diversify his fund. So here is the distinction: what is foreign bonds and what is euro bonds. The foreign bonds issuer is a foreign government or the corporations or international institutions which is registered under US SEC, okay, Securities Exchange Commission. The euro bond issuer is any borrower with the credit standing explicit rating. If the companies or any of the corporates having a good credit ratings from some of the institutions, we call it as credit rating agencies. So if they are having that, then Eurobond can be issued by them. Currency can be local currency under the foreign bond market, whereas in the euro bond market, any widely used international country. Okay, so any currency of the international country, but other than the domestic currency of the market where they are going to issue. Amount raised in a single issue, typically $50 to 500 million. Amount raised in a single issue, typically $50 to 500 million. So this is not a distinction, it is a similarity. The types are a bearer expect in building and Yankee markets, whereas in Eurobond the types is a bearer one. Interest payments as in corresponding domestic market. So as usual, what is the procedure to pay the domestic bonds interest? In the same way, the foreign bonds also will pay the interest, whereas in case of the euro bond, the interest rates are paid annually, okay, and even the fixed rate bond and quarterly for the floating rates notes. Okay, so if the bonds are floating coupon rates, then it is paid quarterly. Listing is foreign stock exchanges, usually in the foreign bond market, whereas listing is in the London, Luxembourg in case of the Eurobond market. Investors are the domestic one, in fact, okay, but the Eurobonds are widely international profile, okay. Private individuals play a role. So under the foreign market, the investors are from the domestic one, because the currency which is issued is in domestic currency, okay. Whereas in euro bond, the currency which is issued is the currency of the issuers or borrowers country. So the wide international profile or private individual play a major role here. So that's it for today's class. In next class we are going to study about the international money market comparisons with international bond market, international credit market comparison with international bond market, and international credit market comparison